My name is Lamecca Holmes. I'm the director of the East Flatbush Community Partnership, and we are grateful for you all to join us today for our January monthly meeting. We're going to begin things off with our welcome and an icebreaker. We're going to have some East Flatbush Community Partnership updates and our What's Happening segment. We're going to explain our new presenter form that will be used to have you all just kind of submit a request to present at our monthly meetings, and we'll talk about how that process is going to go. We're going to have some conversations reflecting on last year, as well as what we plan to accomplish this year. And then we'll end our meeting with program updates. Okay, so without further ado, Diane is going to lead us in our conversation around the icebreaker. Diane?
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon all. I am Diane Smith and I'm a community ambassador with the East Flatbush Community Partnership. And today's icebreaker is kind of very interactive. This is an exercise in constructing positive awareness. It's called positive story building. Each individual will add a sentence to the story beginning with the words yes and. The words no but are not allowed in this exercise at all. As an example, what's on the screen, I would say it's cold outside. Someone would come in and say yes, and it's warm in the house. And someone else would come in and say yes, and we don't have to leave. Keeping the story positive. I'm going to start with the first sentence, and I'm going to pass it to the next storyteller, who will begin their sentence with the yes and, complete their sentence, and then pass it on to the next person, who will start their sentence with the yes and. We only need 6 participants for this first story. We're going to try to do 2 stories. So the 6 participants will be ping-ponging off each other. When I do my first sentence, I'll pass it to somebody, and the person after me will pass it to somebody. Keep it going until we've done 6. So we have a 6-person story. So the whole idea behind this is to listen, keep the stories going, yes, and focus on the positive. Okay? So I'm going to start it with, the news is reporting that we can expect a snowstorm or nor'easter this weekend. And I'm going to pass it to Zena Maldonado.
Yes, and I hope my coworkers won't have to work.
Okay, I need you to pass it to somebody, Zena.
I'll pass it to Maylene.
And we are expecting torrential storms. And I'm going to pass it to Lamecca.
Yes, and I am ready with my faithful Uggs, and I'm going to pass it to Victor.
Yes, and the weather's going to change into a nice, balmy 80 degrees weather the next day.
I like that.
And I will pass it on to Diane Smith.
Yes, and I'll be enjoying that warm weather that Victor predicted for us. And I think that was 6. Was that 6? That was 6. So we're gonna do one more set of 6 people back and forth. Okay, the next sentence is icebreakers can help to engage meeting participants. And I'm gonna pass that to, I'm gonna pass that to Sean Willis.
Yes, and it's perfect for a movie and snuggling. And I'll pass it to Ralik if he hasn't gone yet.
Yes, and that means, no. Yes, and that's perfect for more family time. And I'll pass it to Tyrone.
Thank you. And yes, you can actually make jokes, share recipes, and just get to know the family members a little bit more. And then I will pass the baton to, let me see who hasn't gone here in this roster here. I'm going to pass it on to Vanessa Burrell.
Yes, and I was so unprepared. I'll pass it on to Diane Smith.
Okay, and I'm number 7, so that's it. We've done our stories. We've done our icebreaker stories. We kept it positive. Thank you guys for participating, and I hope you had fun. And now I'm giving it back to Lamaka.
Thanks, Diane. That was great.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna pass it to Sonia for our What's Happening segment.
Sonia's computer is acting up. Hi, my name is Sonia. I'm a community ambassador here with East Flatbush Community Partnership. And I will be talking about a few things in our What's Happening segment. First thing is our first article that came out that's very important to all New Yorkers is the 53,000 Brooklyn households that have been affected by the memorandum that was removed on January 15th that was helping New Yorkers that were behind on their rent. So as of January 15th, since the memorandum ended, it left over 53,000 Brooklyn households affected. Several politicians and nonprofits did advocate to the governor on all New Yorkers' behalf to have it extended again for the third time. However, that was not upheld. According to the data for eviction filing within the city, we're currently at a total of 53,015 households that will be affected by the ending of this mandate, which involves evictions for people in apartments and for people that are behind on their mortgages for possible foreclosures of their homes. So the New York City our new New York City mayor, Eric Adams, states that the city will be sending an influx of resources to the tenant helpline to provide free legal assistance to eligible New Yorkers and to start an outreach program within the city for at-risk renters. And thank you. I just saw a chat pop up from Mr. McDonald. Thank you for that correction. It was a moratorium, not a memorandum. Thank you. Many politicians also joined together to send a letter to our current governor on January 14th, asking on behalf of the home renters that we do receive an extension, since it will be affecting so many households as we are still going through a pandemic and people are still suffering from income losses within their homes. Due to this, the ERAP program that received federal pandemic rent relief funding ran out of money on January 12th of 2022, which left many renters unable to receive assistance. There are applications that were placed that are still in a pending status that haven't been reviewed because there are no more funds. New York did request from the federal government an additional $1 billion in funds, and they were informed that they can only use about 27 million of it. So, within the next couple of months, this will be an ongoing issue as more information becomes available. So it definitely will be something that I will bring back to the What's Happening segment, because it's something very much informing, concerning all of us New Yorkers. The next thing is Brooklyn minority and women-owned businesses eligible for new grant program. So a collaboration between the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce and Cross River Bank has launched a grant program aimed at helping minorities and women-owned businesses, as well as startups. The grant fund is currently totaling $200,000, and the grants that will be dispersed is on a $5,000 fund base each. Sorry. The Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce said that at this time, Brooklyn small businesses are still experiencing economic challenges due to the pandemic, and that they just wanted to be a lifeline to invest back through communities throughout Brooklyn. This January 2022, the recipients of the grants were Buy Better Foods, which is a Black-owned market and learning center in Bed-Stuy that offers not only natural foods, wellness products, but also instructional workshops. They will be using their funding to do a juice bar. Ella Brooklyn, which is a day lounge in Fort Greene, they're going to donate their profits to In the Pink, which is a women's charity. Green Market, which is a gourmet grocery store in Fort Greene, they also received funding. Ocean Hardware and Almac Hardware, which is a family-owned hardware store in the New Kirk Plaza. And then there was Therapy Wine Bar 2.0 in Bed-Stuy. I will be dropping the link in the chat for the Brooklyn of Commerce grant page. Sorry. Just need to minimize my screen. Okay. And LaMecca, that is it for me.
Thank you, Sonia.
Thank
We're
you.
gonna pass things over to Cindy for our updates.
Hello, everyone. Cindy Reed here, community organizer with East Flatbush Community Partnership. We are continuing our community aid. This is an aid to help families that have fallen behind on the utility bill, any utility bill, water, gas, internet, doesn't matter. Those who live in the zip codes of 11203, 11210, 11212, and 11226 are eligible to apply. We encourage providers to apply for their clients on them for them. If they have to do the application on their own, then they have to provide additional documents to show proof of financial hardship. But we still have this aid, which you call being provided to residents within the zip codes that I just mentioned. And past events, we had a winter giveaway this past Tuesday. It was really good at Medgar Evers College, gave out food, coats, hats, other resources such as Metro Plus was there, HCC, what you call Bedford-Stuyvesant's Family Health Center as well. So it was a great event. Here's some pictures from it. Good turnout, over 200 families were serviced that day. So it was a great event. And continue to please put your name and email in the email address in the chat, introducing yourself as a resident or provider. Provide your organization if you're a provider. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. So we're gonna take a moment and transition. I wanna show you all the presenter form that we are launching as of this month. So give me one moment to pull that up. And Cindy, if you can drop that link in the chat now, that would be great. Okay. So we wanted to have the process that we use for having presenters let us know that they're interested in presenting at our meetings. We wanted that process to be a little bit more streamlined. So we have this form that we would like for you to fill out if you're interested in presenting at one of our monthly meetings. Basic information, first name, last name, phone number, email address, the name of the organization you're representing, and the contact information for someone else in your organization that we could speak to if for whatever reason when we reach out, you're not available. For you to please describe briefly what you would like to present about, provide an estimate as to how much time you would need to present, and then also provide 3 possible dates. And we're starting from March I'm sorry, option 6 shouldn't be there. I want to add on July, so I'll do that later. And then we just have a question here if you'd like to join our email list if you're not there already, so we can add you. And after this form is completed, someone from our team will reach out to you and let you know if you're able to present on one of the days that's selected, and then solidify that date with you. Okay, so Cindy has put the form link in the chat, and it was there as well at the top of the meeting. So does anyone have any questions about the form?
I just want to share with people that there will be most likely 2 to 3 presenters, depending on how long presenters' presentation are. Usually it's from 15 to 30 minutes. So you can sign up. So you don't have to fear that there won't be any spot for you, because usually we have about 2 to 3 presenters for each meeting.
Thank you, Cindy. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing I wanted to remind you all about is our newsletter. We have a newsletter that comes out every week. During the week on Wednesdays, it comes out as a monthly newsletter. I'm sorry, as a weekly newsletter. And then on the first week of the month on a Friday, it comes out as a monthly newsletter where we recap the different community events that we took part in. So I just want to show you all what that looks like. And then to Cindy, you can put that link in the chat as to how people can sign up for the newsletter as well. So this is what the last newsletter looked like that we had that came out this week, actually.
As it loads, sorry,
Yeah,
Lameka. As it
Go ahead.
loads, oh, go ahead, Lameka, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I love our newsletters. I think that they are full of great information. We definitely try to include various categories around health, education, housing, jobs. And yeah, I'm just really excited about the fact that when we started, it didn't look as good as it did, right? Like it was very basic, but over time, Cindy has done a great job and just really making sure that our newsletter is amazing. So I just wanted to say that, but go ahead, Cindy, what did you want to add?
I just wanted to share that if you have any electronic flyers or any upcoming events, please share them. Like Lameka, we share a variety of information in the newsletter, and we often get calls where something's going on and a resident will call us, oh, I saw this in the newsletter, but the link isn't working for me. Oh, how can I go? Do I have to be vaccinated or something? So people do look at the newsletter. The list is over, I think it's up to 800 people now. So it does go out to people, and people are opening and looking at based on the numbers that we see. So if you have any flyers, I encourage you to share them.
I'll just jump in for a second and say, I went to that form and I love Microsoft Forms, so awesome that you used it. When it says select the dates, you can pick up to 3. It only lets you pick 1.
Okay, can you all hear me?
What's that?
Cindy, were you done speaking?
Yes, I was done. Actually, Sean Willis was speaking.
Okay.
He was saying that the form only allows him to select 1 date, not 3 dates.
Okay, thank you for that information. I'll go to the back end and edit it. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I'm not sure what's going on, but it is taking too long for the newsletter to load. So we're gonna leave that for now. If it comes up later, I'll come back and show you all at the end of the meeting. I want to continue with our presentation. Okay, so what we want to do now is just have a conversation. We want to have an open conversation about how things went last year in some specific areas. And then we also want to talk through plans that we have for the new year. So this is an open conversation. The question is, what challenges did your organization face in 2021? And those challenges could be around internal things within the organization that impacted how residents were assisted, or specific challenges around just, how it may have been for you in helping residents considering COVID and different things that were going on. So I'm just gonna open things up, and whoever would like to share, please feel free to introduce yourself, tell us where you're representing, and then what specific challenges your organization faced last year.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anna Smith. I am the resource specialist for a nonprofit organization called Power of Two. And the challenges that we faced last year, at least on my end, because I'm the resource specialist, COVID had a major impact on the childcare centers. There were a lot of childcare centers that were closed down or weren't taking a certain number of students. And then there were a lot of parents who were actually trying to enroll their children into childcare, which kind of made it even more challenging, not having enough childcare centers taking students or having available seats at the moment.
Okay, thank you. I'm curious as to how that panned out. Is it still an issue now, or have you guys been able to reopen them?
Well, we don't necessarily have childcare services, so I usually reach out to childcare services and try to find out if they have available seating for enrollment. And a lot of them are either, don't have seats available, which is still going on today, or a lot of them aren't taking as many students. They have like a specific number, they have cut down their classes. So it's still an ongoing challenge.
Right, okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing. And let me just add on one thing. While we're having this conversation, if you have any feedback or input or advice for anyone that may be sharing a challenge, feel free to share, okay? So who would like to go next? Thank you so much.
Lameka, just to add on, Jay Boy from New Directions, just to add on what Anna was saying as well, what I did learn from the individuals who have children here is that a lot of the daycares was not accepting children if they was not getting the flu shot, due to the fact that it's a flu shot season. And once the flu season is over, then some of them will be opening up spots for children to come in, into the programs.
Okay, thank you. Was that the same case if eligible children didn't have vaccines for COVID? Do you know?
So I know as far as in Queens, because my kids attend Queens, that the similarly, because if they wasn't vaccinated, also if they wasn't taking the flu shot as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to share some challenges that they faced last year?
I'll share. My name is Maylene Thurton. I'm from the Problem Gambling Resource Center. One of the challenges that I have faced last year, I was new to Problem Gambling Resource Center. I started in the beginning of last year, but in the communities that I'm trying to get the resources to, having this conversation about problem gambling has been the most trying and daunting attempt that I've had, because a lot of people just associate problem gambling with like buying scratch offs or playing lotto or playing the numbers, whereas anything that you are taking a risk or putting money to gain a value, to gain something of value, is considered gambling by a definition. So like with the mobile sports betting and the online trading, the dice games, the raffles in the when you're raffling off turkeys, or you're raffling off, coats or merchandise for people in the community that are in need. I'm really trying to focus the organization in the high underserved areas. We know where is represented and we know where is not represented. I'm trying to make that difference by going into the underserved areas where you don't really hear about organizations such as who I work for. And a lot of times when you hear problem gambling, you think, oh, we have a neutral stance on gambling. So it's not about saying you have a pro or antagonistic view on gambling. It's just building the awareness around it and also understanding some warning signs that might be helpful to see, because a lot of the gambling that's taking place are being targeted to our youth. And parents and adults are not even realizing that from a younger age, the advertisements, especially with having the online accessibility, is really geared toward our younger adults, right? Or the youth in itself. So for me, it's frustrating. We're just trying to have these conversations. It's like talking about mental illness. It's a taboo in our communities that look like us, but it's a necessity that we really need to have more awareness and knowledge behind. So any and all help that I can get to do outreach, I will be an extension of your staff, because I think it's a situation, or it's an issue that's going to be increasing very quickly, especially like 2 weeks ago, mobile sports betting became legalized in New York. And if you see the advertisements, like when I was growing up, you only saw certain advertisements for the grown-up community after like 8 p.m. Nowadays, it's no hold bars, right? So I'm not trying to keep keep talking so much, but I just think it's so important for people to just be more open to understanding, like especially warning signs, because it's considered, problem gambling is considered a hidden addiction, and nobody knows the next person that might be struggling, but the help is needed. So that's my little pitch on the challenge that I've experienced. I'm going to keep plugging away. I'm going to keep coming out to the communities, and anything that I can do, you think that might be helpful, suggestions, I'm all ears. I really appreciate all that each and every one of you do, and thank you for giving me the time to speak.
Thank you. I'm curious, when you do present to residents, is it that they don't see the connection? Like, are they saying like, oh, that doesn't apply to me? Or are they really not seeing the connection? Because it's one thing to say, like, I don't understand what you're saying, but it's another thing to say, oh, I understand, but that's not me, right? Almost like a denial. So which one do you think is happening?
A lot of times I'm hearing in the communities, I'm focusing East New York, Brownsville, Ocean Hill, this Flatbush area. I'm consistently hearing that doesn't apply to me.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because there isn't a correlation, and it's understanding that it's a behavior that is being encouraged.
Right.
So it's not necessarily the activity, because it's dice games, it's scratch offs, it's online trading, it's mobile sports betting, it's even buying scratch offs or playing the numbers. A lot of the times our communities played numbers because they were trying to get dinner. So if I hit the number, then we're going to have meat with our food. If I don't hit the number, we're just going to have, the bare minimum. So it's changing the mentality behind it as well. So I hear a lot, this does not apply to me.
Okay.
And again, it's not like I'm saying don't do it. It's just, as with anything, are you doing it in moderation? It's when it's becoming a problem for your day-to-day living.
Right.
And it's just understanding those differences.
Yeah. Thank you.
But we're here to help, and we help in any form of fashion. If I need to get you another resource, that's what we're going to do.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you for the time.
You're welcome. Anyone else would like to share any challenges? And if anyone has feedback from Maylene, feel free to share.
We did have someone that had their hand raised, but I wanted feedback from Maylene.
Okay.
So one was when you were talking about as far as children. So I know when my nephew was he's in elementary, and we have middle school. So they play a lot of the games. What is it? Roblox now.
Yep.
And when Candy Crush was a thing. The kids, you put your card in to get it, but if you don't unattach your card, every time they want to level up, because
Yep.
this actually happened to my brother, they want to level up, they're going to just do it because they're like addicted. They're like, oh, I want to buy this, I want to buy that. Next thing you know, my brother had like $500 on his card that was missing going into Roblox.
Right,
So
because
I think that, you
Go
know,
ahead, go
if
ahead.
you pair with like an organization or another group that maybe may be having a school event,
Mhm.
you know, and just go into the school and do like a workshop on those games. Sometimes some of the parents, until their credit cards start getting hit, they just
Yes.
think that it's a game that their kids like. They don't understand that, you know, all of these leveling up and when they want to buy different things in the game, that's kind of how the kind of addiction occurs. So sometimes in those little workshops where you can go to like PTA meetings, you can actually go to a PTA meeting in different schools and kind of show them, because sometimes, like I said, the parents really don't know. They distracting them. I got a few
It's
minutes
true.
to myself. And sometimes that's just how it is. And as far as, you know, the community, you talking about East New York. I grew up in that area, East New York. You know, you go into the store for Big Mama to get her scratch off, so go
Mhm.
into the illegal hole with her to play her numbers. That was the thing. That's a culture. Like, so that's not just like a right now thing. You
Right.
know, whoever you talking to now, they saw their grandmother do that. And then that person saw their great grandmother do that. So we talking about stuff that's been coming through generations. So when you come into them, sometimes it's just how you come to them or just how the pitch is, because to them, it's nothing wrong with it. My big mama did that. My great grandmother did that. So, and you know, she used to win like $50 here, $100 here. That's how we got our Christmas presents.
Mhm.
So it's just, you know, you got to go back into the culture, because listen, my mother did it as long as I can remember. My mother been playing illegal numbers. So it's a generational thing that, you know, sometimes we might have to get together and think of it from a different angle when we go to approach them. Because yes, they don't think it's nothing wrong with it. It's not their problem, because they've been doing that forever. They've been seeing
Right.
everybody that came before them do it, and it wasn't nothing wrong with them. That's how they think.
It's like I tell my organization, I deal a lot with NYCHA developments because that's the best way I find to get to a lot of the population that's really underserved. And I tell my organization all the time, there's no way I can tell them to stop doing raffles. Are you kidding me? That's how are you going to tell 1,000 people I have 100 turkeys? And how am I fairly going to get you a turkey? Is by doing a raffle. So I'm, you know, and I grew up with getting a scratch off for my birthday. But as I said, as you said, Cindy, it's changing. It's just building more awareness around some of the activities. Nothing is wrong with doing it because it can be recreational and it can be fun, but it's just done in moderation, right?
Limits, yeah.
As with anything. So that's my pushback, you know, on how I talk to even my organization. Like, you have to be very serious and real in how you speak to people. I'm going into high underserved areas. I'm not choosing to go to Cobble Hill. And I'm no disrespect to Cobble Hill. And I'm sure the people that live there too have their own issues. But I feel it's more, in my goal is to reach the underserved. Cobble Hill has a lot of resources. I don't see the same resources in the people of color that look like us and may be experiencing this, and they're not having the viable resources at their fingertips. And to understand, it's part of our culture. So I appreciate all the feedback.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Robinson has her hand up.
Thank you, Sonia, and I apologize if y'all hear a baby crying. I have a newborn, so I'm
Okay,
sorry.
we love babies. We love babies.
So issues or struggles, I guess, that me and my organization have been facing are similar to what Maylene and Sonia were just talking about. Hi, Maylene. Access to mental health, specifically for kids, specifically access that is culturally competent. You know, kids of color getting access to mental health professionals who are also mental health professionals of color, being put on waiting lists. I've worked with kids who've lost both their parents, and you know, grief is a real thing, and it's not just, you know, about the loss of life. Grief has looked very different for a lot of people over these past 2 years. If anyone has any suggestions, resources, contacts, connects to do with specifically youth mental health, then please reach out, because that is an area that I really want to share resources. And it's something that comes up a lot.
Thank you, Sarah, for sharing. Would anyone like to comment to Sarah's challenge?
Yes, of course. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I just wanted to share once again, especially to our new members here on the meeting. My name is Selena LeBron. I am one of the outreach members of the outreach team here at NYPC. We provide counseling services to children and families. One of our highlights is that we do service children beginning at age 3 years old. So we pretty much see everyone from 3 years old to 100. We're also open 7 days a week for that flexibility. Like you mentioned, Miss Sarah, there are barriers to receiving mental health services. And so we pride ourselves in being open 7 days a week. We also do not have a wait list, and we're also open evening hours, because we know that there's some working parents or working individuals or children who have after school activities. So we're open to 10 o'clock at night. Our services are in person or via video or phone call, which is now called telehealth services. So you can literally access the service from the comfort of your home if you're not able to come out. I'll share some more information and contact information in the chat box. And if anyone's interested in sending anyone or referring anyone to us, they can call me directly. My phone number is in the chat box. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Selena. Would anyone else like to share any challenges your organization is facing? And residents, if you want to share challenges that you're facing in your family, feel free. This is the safe space. Open to hear.
I would share.
I would like to share.
Go ahead, Karen.
During this time when we really didn't have a mandatory roster, hi, I'm Karen. I'm with HRA contracts, which means that our customers they came through mandated from HRA in order to participate. During the time when we didn't have that, we leaned heavily into training. What we found though was the violence was very increased. The younger ones had to drop out because meeting them at the subway were gangs and things of that nature. That was number one. That was surprising to us. We never had experienced that before. Access, we were giving Metro cards, so now they give daily Metro cards, and it seems like people don't understand is an incentive is a weekly, right? I can get extra swipes off of that. Now we're giving 2 trips. You get here and you get back. So everybody dropped down from that. Just actually trying to, and as you mentioned, the mental health capacity of our staff and our customers was heightened off the chain. And the places where everybody goes, we have NYC Well, and they give you an appointment that's 2 months from now. So that's what is that there? So those are the challenges we experienced. We're still having that. We don't have a roster yet, still from HRA. But I'm scared for people, the safety is a big issue that's coming up in my community.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Karen, could you explain what you mean by not having a roster? I'm unclear as to what that means.
Oh, I'm sorry. To mention again, so when you go to HRA for any kind of funding, if you have children over the age of 4, you are assigned to a site that's called in the Career Pathways model. So it's either Youth Pathways or
career compass pathways, or there are different pathways that they actually have. And you're assigned to do a certain amount of hours there that get you to what they feel is the panacea to self-sufficiency, which is employment, right? So while we are there, we're giving certain workshops, training, certifications, barrier remediation to get you to employment. Our roster size used to be about 1,000. As of yesterday, we have 43 people. So that's like a huge difference. Not only for us, like I said, our staff is trained to actually do that interaction. So now they're kind of demoralized because it's like, well, what do we do? What are we gonna do? You know, that kind of thing. And the customers we're concerned about, because now we're going on 2 years and not using those muscles that they used for 2 years is kind of scary to us as well. So I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry if I.
No, it's okay. Thank you for clarifying. Thank you. Would anyone else like to share?
Sure. Yeah, I would like to share if everyone don't mind. For 2021, one challenge, actually two challenges. Like since we actually transferred to doing mostly virtual seminars and orientations and the like, we actually got like a tremendous, participation. But the only thing, just the downside was that it was just as far as the staffing, because we lost one of our home buying counselors. So, some other staff had to fill in at a time when just the volume of numbers for home buying, people looking to buy a home increased, so that was challenging. But secondarily, what I would say what was challenging was, during COVID, with the different waves we've had and how the city services was stilted. That left like a lot of community-based organizations either to fend for yourself or to, just improvise, which became very frustrating, sometimes emotionally draining. Like, for example, I had a woman who called up, she received city FEPS, and, and the thing is that, because I was asking her a question about, did she have like a caseworker, because she was under the impression that you could use city FEPS, to purchase a home, right? And I was asking all these questions, and the thing is that she got no guidance. It was like she got the city FEPS, and no one really told her about it, and what to do. So it was like things like that I found very frustrating, that, it left like a lot of CBOs left to have to fill in the void. And sometimes, we're not able to, and it really stretches us thin. So that's one of the challenges I would have to point out.
Thank you. Thank you, Tyrone. Would anyone else like to share any challenges? We can take about 2 more people.
I'll share quickly. Thank you so much. So from Phoenix House, sometimes T. Thaddeus Brown is on this for us, but I'm here today. One of the things we see, like increased telehealth services, right? And people having some difficulty connecting, whether they don't have confidential space, if it's a confidential appointment, or they don't have the technology. So, we're actively pursuing, a lot of funding, because there's a lot of money rolling out the door, believe it or not, right now. And we've got 2 telehealth booths on our site, which are, like they look like phone booths, but they're fit with, iPads and computers, and people can go on and book an hour, 2 hours, and sit in there and do an appointment with their doctor. So, we're kind of trying to live in the solution to our challenges, so that was the telehealth. I think staff wellness, Tyrone just kind of mentioned it, the challenges that they keep throwing more stuff on us. So staff wellness, a lot of our programs, we do holistic wellness programs here, all free of charge. We have a lunchtime yoga that a lot of Phoenix House staff from around the city will Zoom into our lunchtime yoga class, and maybe they just do 15 minutes and in their chair while they're eating, or but just trying to do some stuff. I mean, we have a bunch of wellness programs at the Recovery Center. I put our web address in the chat, brooklynrecovery.org. You could go there, click our calendar, and it has everything. We have meditation on Monday. Shabazz runs our meditation on Thursday morning at 8 o'clock. It's phenomenal. I start my Thursday to it every week. And then the staff shortages, like I said, we just got a grant to work in the NYCHA developments, and we're hiring 10 community health workers at $50,000, so encourage them to go to their Reese office and on the portal and apply, to work in this. Like it's a 3-year grant, 2 years, 30 months running through 2024, 10 health workers. And I only have one of 6 contracts. So there's 60 community health workers being hired across the Queens and Brooklyn right now. And then, funding, like, I hope people will make partnerships. Like, I'm lucky. I fought as hard as I could. I wrote the grants for a long time here. And then I finally got a real grant writer because I just play one on TV. But so we're writing grants, and I would love people to partner. If you see a grant and you think you could use help, writing it and implementing it, like, reach out to people and say, like, would you do this with me? Because we'll write it and we can partner with it, because we need partnerships in order to get grants. That's what they want to see. So that's me, in Bed-Stuy, trying to live in the solution out here.
Thanks, Sean. Thank you so much.
I'd like to go if that's okay.
Yes, please, Lisa, go ahead.
So I'm with Good Shepherd Services, specifically with the non-secure placement, which is a close to home site, AKA all those pretty words mean we work with juvenile justice youth and they're placed in our residential facility. And then I'm specifically overseeing the aftercare component where the youth are returning back to the community and we support them and guide them. One of the things that we are required to do is to link the youth and support them to engage in recreational activities, whatever it might be, basketball, art, music studio, whatever they may be interested in, and just, identifying those resources in the community. And one of the challenges we have had and still have is the vaccine mandates. So when youth don't want to get vaccinated, there may be a great recreational activity either at their school or near their home, and the youth cannot attend because they refuse to get vaccinated. And these are high-risk youth. We provide trauma-informed care. They have long backstories. They've been involved with justice issues, and we know the crime issues in the city are not getting any better. And we're working hard, constantly looking for recreational activities for these kids. But then with the vaccine mandates, it's always a struggle. So if anybody has any thoughts, ideas, suggestions, know somebody, please keep me posted.
I'm messaging you. Our recreational counselor works with youthful offenders in the Bronx. He's amazing, Jabaris Dove, and he runs a fitness program every Saturday. And I can, have him come out to you guys and run something for your people. I'll message you.
Thank you. And our kids, we're located in East New York, but we get kids from all over the city, Staten Island, the Bronx, Queens. They go back to, we even have kids that go back to New Jersey. We had one kid move to Arizona, Connecticut. So we have to find services for kids all across the city and sometimes other states, which is a big undertaking, a very big undertaking.
Yeah. Are the children able to do virtual recreation as well, or does it have to be in person?
They do, but they're not very receptive to it. These youth it's a very specific culture. A lot of them are gang involved. They have a lot of trauma. A lot of them have been in foster care. So they really are observatory about who they engage with, and things like that. So I think they're very skeptical of computers. They'll do it, but will they do it multiple, engage and really get into it? Not really.
Okay. I have another question for you. Would a internship count as recreational activity? Or does it have to be like a sport or?
No. Yes, that's a great point. We also, the youth we serve are 14 to 18. Some of them might be a little bit over 19, depending on, when their birthday fall and stuff like that. So a lot of the youth are interested in employment opportunities, training opportunities, things of that nature. So again, the goal and the purpose is just to keep them busy, doing something productive and safe and an alternative to the things that got them arrested. So that's what we just try to do, identify those things, whatever it might be. workout, fitness, employment. But again, with the vaccine mandates, so many limitations.
Right. Okay. So I was also wondering, are you familiar with the God Squad? I know that they have a internship program for male and female youth. And it's an ongoing program. I don't know the details of what, vaccine mandates are for them, but I would definitely recommend them as a resource. And, feel free, you can shoot me or send me an email and we can get you connected with them.
Thank you. That sounds very interesting. Thank you so
And
much.
I think it would be great for the youth you're mentioning, because so it's called the God Squad, but they also are called the 67 Clergy Council. So they work closely with the 67th precinct. And some of the youth may even be able to do activities at the precinct. I believe the precinct has some type of youth room, right, where they engage with the youth in the community. So I think that, if we stay connected, there's something that we can find for them.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Lisa. Anyone else? Actually, I said 2 people. So let's go on to the next one. This is great, but let's keep going. All right. So the next question we have for you all is, what do you foresee that residents will need in 2022? I think some of what you shared that came up, definitely we heard mental health services that are in need, recreational activities that are in need, but anything else specific that you can foresee based on what you saw last year, specifically that residents will need for 2022, please share.
Praying for some more rent relief.
Yes.
So I'm a community organizer by training. That's what my social work degree is in. But like my thought is, anytime things get crazy, like COVID brought us, this craziness, when things start to stabilize and everything kind of goes up, who gets left behind, right? People in the communities that we serve. So I think forums like this are going to be really important when we start noticing stuff, like opportunities where we can, promote equity. We need to be on, pushing that. And if we feel like people are starting to get left behind, we need, so advocacy, I think I want to build like an advocacy movement out of the recovery center. So, whatever we could do for that, if we could mobilize some folks, to go across certain issues when we see them, I think that'd be cool.
Thanks, Sean. Anyone else have any input as to what you foresee residents will need in 2022?
I'll add more street outreach. I think that's what has helped us most with connecting with people. I know a lot of people have been using Zoom because we had to, but when it comes to connecting with people, finding ways to connect with them in the streets. I don't know if anyone knows about Street Lab, but they would create like a library in the street. Cut off the street and just make a nice setup in the street where it was like playful for kids, parents bring their children out. And then I can see providers being out there, connecting with the families and stuff. So ways to connect with the people in the streets and, just different ways that we can do that. We do a lot of tabling, but there's other ways that we can do some kind of like activity to, engage them and stuff like that as well. But street outreach, definitely. And seeing some more of those big organizations that we know the people need versus the regular people that are always willing to come out. We know the ones that are willing to come out, but there are other ones that we want to come out, and oftentimes it's hard to get them. And the reason why, one of the things I say is because they don't have a hard time reaching the numbers that they are required to reach for their funding, right? But there are other programs, they have to go out, they won't get nobody. So, but those programs, they know, like housing programs, people always gonna need those housing programs. So they don't really need to go to people a lot of times. And not to say, like I'm talking about like home base specifically. I would love to see them come out and table. But programs like Impact Brooklyn and NHS Brooklyn, they're out there. They come out and you can reach them on the phone. But there are other programs that are very hard. And I know that they service people, a lot of people, and they provide great programs, but it's very hard sometimes to get them out. But if it would be great to be able to have them out there in the streets with us too. Because a lot of times they get the word that they're not allowed to. It's just a no. We can't go out. And it's not like they don't want to, but they're not allowed to. So street outreach.
Cindy, I agree 100%. And you took everything what I was literally about to say, especially in this climate of when things start to open up back in 2022. Housing is definitely probably, you said home base. I was thinking about Canva, thinking about all those resources because Impact Brooklyn and NHS, yes, they help assist with different housing particularly, but we also know housing is just a big issue across the board. I mean, down from individuals coming out of incarceration, down from individuals, youth entering back into society. Housing is just across the board an issue. You have all these go to connect, sending everybody online to fill out these applications for these particular houses. And guess what? The rent is sky high. You're lucky 5 out of probably 20 of them to get in a place to get into a house, or majority of the time you have to send these individuals into the shelter system. And if they've been in the shelter system, especially if they've been in the shelter, we're talking about 2 to 3 years, and they're not getting any housing unless you possibly have a diagnosis of a mental health, or you possibly have HIV, or you possibly have children. This is a population that's definitely suffering at that time. Quiet as it kept, mental health is prevailing over everything right now, and that's including individuals who struggle with substance use. But guess what? Mental health is actually subsiding the substance abuse arena. And with the legalization of marijuana, forget about it. That's a struggle where we're actually seeing with the legalization of the marijuana, but mental health is prevalent right now, and that's affecting children, older adults, even us that's coming in who needs those services. And that's why we have these waiting lists at mental health facilities at this time. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
So in the chat, Lisa Bennett, she noted job training and placement, especially for youth.
So please forgive me to add on to for Lisa. So some of the youth employment that you was just naming, and the only reason, Lamecca, I'm not shutting down your suggestion, but I'm thinking because Lisa works with the individuals who had gang related, to go to NYPD, that might be a little sketchy for them, right? They're like, I ain't going over there. But I'm thinking about OBT, or even OBT, what's the other one? That OBT Strive. Strive is another one where I think his name is Mr. Bennett, if I'm not mistaken. I could definitely send you that information as well, because they sending those emails. I think they have an IT program going on. They got the security thing going on. They got a couple of free. And you got BEOC that does a lot of free services. Brooklyn, somebody help me. Brooklyn Employment Opportunity Center. I know Brooklyn has it, Queens has it, Bronx has it. So those are some forms that you could probably reach out to as well. And I'm about to say, Lisa, send me your email, but you put it on in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you. And I wanted to add to, I know a couple months back, one of the things that we saw, and Good Shepherd has a lot of different programs for youth and families, and I spoke to some of my colleagues, and we had this issue a couple months back. A lot of the participants we work with, justice involved, foster care, whoever, they need ID, and a picture ID has been an obstacle for a lot of the participants we work with. And then due to COVID, the DMV lines and everything were really long, and for the appointments and this, that, and the third. So we did have a connection with the NYC ID people, and they came before to our site and set up shop for a whole month, and then people can, the community and our participants can come and just get the ID. However, we cannot host them now because of COVID regulations. We have to have the building at 50% capacity, and nobody had a site that could support them. So they would need somebody to stay. They need a space that they can lock the door, they bring all their old equipment, and they can stay at minimum a month. So I don't know if anyone else would be open to it. I'll be happy to share the gentleman's information. If anybody would be willing to host the NYCID like pop-up site, they'll come and set up shop, and the whole community, anybody can just come in and get picture IDs. Like we work with a lot of kids who get, come for this paid internship and bring your picture ID. They don't have it. Or people will give them stipend checks and they can't cash it because they don't have picture ID. Or come to the school appointment, or all these different things. So something simple as a picture ID. And I'm pretty sure as people with all housing and this, that, a picture ID that's free. But if anybody would be able to host them, they were happy and willing to come, but we just couldn't host them, which was unfortunate.
A question, does it need to be something that's done in person? So what I'm asking is, could a picture be sent to the organization, they create the card and then mail it to the resident?
No, it's an official New York City ID. Okay. So it's kind of like a DMV thing. So
right, okay.
All your paperwork. So the people were gonna come and set up shop and just open it. And they came before COVID and they were great, but they need to stay a minimum of a month. They have certain requirements, like they gotta be handicap accessible. The door has to lock because they bring all their own technology. And I think the ID was free, or it's like $7. I can't remember. He was very nice, but we just don't have the physical space to host them, which is unfortunate.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Lisa, definitely share that contact. I saw someone else said it because I've seen other contacts, they say they were coming out and they don't show up. So if you have that liable contact, please share that, because that is something that has been important and needed in the community.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any other ideas of what residents will need this year? Okay. We have one more question for this part of our presentation today. What events are you planning in 2022? And I just want to preface this with, the purpose of this is for us to potentially collaborate. So I've been taking notes throughout the whole time that we've been having this conversation. So at this point, please share any upcoming events, even if you don't have it solidified, the date, location, the time, even if it's just at the idea level at this point, that's okay, because maybe we could, again, collaborate together to plan for an event. So Anthony, I see your hand. Would you like to share about it?
I would. I'd like to thank you all for the time this afternoon. I will be brief. The Fresh Air Fund launches its summer 2022 application on February 28th. I say that, and I also caution all of you, for those families that you're thinking of, those children that you're thinking of who need a respite. I was reluctant to share when the question was raised, what do I think the children will need? Well, what will our families, our community need in 2022? Because I felt somewhat frivolous, but I reflected upon it and realized that it's very important what we are doing at the Fresh Air Fund in terms of offering these kids an opportunity to be kids, to get outside of their local communities perhaps, or just to be in fellowship and communion with other children of their ages, to be free and to run and play. So with that said, the Fresh Air Fund is launching our applications, which are only available online at our website at freshair.org. I've left the information in the chat. I will do it again. I'd also, Lameka, I'd like to present, I put in a request in the partner presentation request. So that's another plug that I would like to do that earlier rather than later, in that our application launches on the 28th of February. I had started to say, I caution that we are going to have a much pared down offering this year. That means that we are not running our full volume of programming that we have in previous years. And that's all in the name of safety and precaution with regard to COVID. And we will do everything safely. I'm sorry? This will be our first summer restoring our programs, and it'll be the first time in 2 years in which, or 3 years, in which we have not had sleepaway experiences. This will be our first summer doing that again. We will offer a wide range of programming, from overnight camps, which we will run 5 of our camps. We also will have a family wellness program, and it's a program for parents or families that have participated in previous Fresh Air Fund years. That means within the past 2 or 3 years, their child has participated in one or several of our offerings, where the family may go and visit our camps, because the families are already self-quarantined as a unit. We've done this over the past 2 years, and it's been a very, very popular program. It's called the Family Wellness Program. I also will mention a very popular program that is coming back, but I want to give you all the heads up, a first dib on it. That is our Summer Teen Youth Academy. That is the stipend program. Yes, it's opportunity for children ages 13 to 17 to have employment for many for the very first time. With that said, it will go very quickly. We only have a limited number of slots, and it's less than we had last year. So I'm telling you all of this so that if you are considering it for your families or your constituents in the community, be mindful that the application opens on the 28th and that you should be there. It's at freshair.org. Sign up. The process is pretty straightforward. They don't need anything to sign up on the website. So the parents don't have to be nervous with that, but it is all online. We have no paper applications. Thank you so much. And I welcome your children to join our program. We welcome them. And going back to the core question, what do children need? They do need they need some positivity. They need something to look forward to. And hopefully the Fresh Air Fund can be one of many things that they can look forward to this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Vanessa, would you like to share?
Hi, Lamaka. Thank you for inviting me and Cindy to your meeting today. It's my second time at the meeting. I'm from the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, Bureau of Early Intervention. And so we are having an ongoing series of parent presentation. It's called It Takes a Village to Help Children Reach Their Full Potential. It is going from January to February this year. And we're going to continue for the first half of the rest of the year. So if you have any families or know anyone who have concerns about their infant or toddler not walking, talking, or playing, and they need answers about services, we are interested in helping you to help your child reach your full potential. So the early intervention program that we're going to offer is going to talk to the parents about the referral process, how to be referred into the program, the referral sources, and how to link children to the early intervention program so that they can get help. So let me back up a little bit. So this program is for children who may have any suspected or known developmental delays, and children must be between the ages of birth to 3 years old. Also, children who may have any suspected or known disabilities. We would also provide services for these children. We also going to go through the individual family service plan, and that is a comprehensive plan that is designed for children to help them meet their needs individually, where service providers, whether it's OT or PT or speech, comes into the home or wherever the family wants us to come in and provide free services for our children. The good thing about this program is children do not have to be a resident of the United States. It is for free. We provide services for children in the 5 boroughs. It's not a mandated program. Families can opt out at any time. It is very family centered, and families can, it's very hands-on involved through embedded coaching. That's a strategy that we use where we provide services in children's natural learning environments. And that could be the home, wherever the family wants to get these services provided. We will work with the family. We do our evaluation also at convenient areas, and that could be at a Subway, it could be at McDonald's, wherever it's pretty natural for the child. We work with these children. So we would provide resources and support materials for these families. It's a virtual presentation. It's about 1 hour long, let's say 45 minutes to an hour, and parents can ask the respective presenters any questions that they may have. So I already placed it in the chat. We also have a QR code that they can scan right on screen, and it takes you straight into the registration for the program. So it's called, again, It Takes a Village to Help Children Reach Their Full Potential. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Vanessa. Sonia, you may go.
Hear me?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sonia. I'm an outreach coordinator at the New York City Civilian Complaint Review Board. So we have our monthly board meetings, and that's also posted on our website. So people can subscribe as well to get updates or follow us on social media to know when we're doing different outreach initiatives. The one thing, I mean, this is more related to, I believe it was the first question. So one thing that I found surprising was not a lot of virtual like resource fairs were going on. So I know tabling and stuff, but if there's an opportunity or someone wants to collaborate to do that, definitely, like, I would love if you could keep me involved or just keep us posted in general. And also, I don't know what people's experience has been with clients or just community members, whether it's like connecting with Zoom to like join a meeting or learn about a resource, or even calling in. I think calling in, I don't know, I personally find that it's helpful to also have that as well. So even if your organization may not have like the actual platform to use, if there's something that I can do to like help by using WebEx or setting it up, like I definitely am here to assist, and I would love to do that.
Thank you, Sonia. Sarah?
Did you say Sarah?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll be quick. I'm sorry. So I'm currently working with New York Project Hope. It's emotional support for New Yorkers as a result of COVID. Full disclosure, it's FEMA funded, but at Riseborough, we're trying to be really intentional about the services and resources, and we are trying to approach it from a perspective of being in community with everyone else, rather than us versus them mentality. So we're really looking to connect with community members and resource providers to just do what we can. I really would like to get Vanessa's information because I love her program. That sounds really, really good and very helpful. Also, Riseborough has Sister Sage, girls empowerment program specifically for Black and Indigenous girls of color. They're doing remote and in person. And I'll share the flyer and information with Cindy. And we also have an Ali's Men program, which is a mentor / boys empowerment program. They have a middle school cohort, a high school cohort, and the young men and boys are mentored by adult men, and any adult men over 21 who are interested in being mentors. Again, I'll share that information with Cindy. Shout out to Fresh Air Fund and Anthony Parker, my partner 30 years ago, did many summers with Fresh Air Fund and speaks so fondly of it. So I highly, he's just had such good memories and a wonderful life experience because of Fresh Air Fund. So shout out to them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Victoria?
Hi, thank you. I'm Victoria from LK Wellness, a private practice, and we do a lot of events monthly. I'm going to share our events page in the chat. Some things that we offer are Black Women Speak, an open group for Black women to come and speak about their own experiences. We have a group for anxiety, a group for depression, a group for caretakers, which are many people in this space right now. So please check us out. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us.
Thank you, Victoria. Jonathan?
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Jonathan. I'm part of the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. I'm community outreach specialist and part of the Vaccine Operations Center. We're currently doing many presentations on anything in regards to the COVID-19 vaccine, COVID-19 as a pandemic, and flu vaccines. I know this pandemic is an ever-changing landscape. Information is always being updated, policies are always changing, and many organizations and residents need updated information, along with residents being hesitant upon vaccination. So our team here at the Department of Health wants to disseminate the most up-to-date information. So if any organizations need any presentations or any resources in terms of vaccination for COVID-19 or the flu, we are available and you can contact me and we can give a presentation, host a town hall, or go out to community members and speak to them about their vaccination of COVID-19 and influenza. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Jonathan. Sonia?
Hello. So once again, I'm a community ambassador with East Flatbush Community Partnership. And Victoria, me and Cindy was just talking about your organization today because we are going to hold a women's summit again this coming March. So we are in the beginning planning process. So we are looking for women supported programs or organizations. So definitely like Victoria, like your organization, Sarah, I believe you said gave some information as well, and a few others. And we're just looking for like women organizations as far as support in different forms, and as well as in any of you individuals that may be interested in the planning process for our Women's Summit, just to reach out to Cindy and let us know so that we can get that on the road. So what we're looking for is, she's amazing, you know, basically just support for women in the community, just giving them that push, services that they need, service providers as far as like, well, childcare or information about employment and just different things that will help them in their process in this new year, as the last 2 years have been very challenging, not only for women, but for all, but this is a Women's Summit.
Thank you, Sonia. I don't see any more hands raised. Is there anyone else that wanted to share any upcoming events that you know about? Okay.
Yeah, how you doing, everyone? Just lastly, neighborhood housing services, along with Flatbush Tenant Coalition and Assembly member Nick Perry has been offering an ongoing series of forums on housing. They just had, I guess as you call it, the second one yesterday, and there's going to be one next week, which would be the third one. All right, and I think there's going to be after that 2 more after that. I did put a flyer in the chat, and it's, so you can sign up. It's also going to be broadcasted also via Facebook Live as well. And it's basically just discussing some of the options on, because as you know, the more, as it was just stated earlier, the moratorium for foreclosure and evictions have transpired. So people are left scrambling on what to do. So it's going to cover that as well as any other questions people may have on their housing situation. So, feel free. And I did post in the chat, and also I'll send Cindy a flash that you can also be blasted to people.
Thanks, Tyrone. Do we have anyone else that would like to share about upcoming events? So I'd like to share really briefly on behalf of the East Flatbush Community Partnership. We have partnered with CleanRight, and we have purchased several laundry cards for residents, and our goal is to pick 3 laundry mats in East Flatbush and provide residents with laundry cards as well as, detergent and things like that. We want it to be a great event, so we might be tapping on some shoulders where, it can be a resource fair as well for residents. So they're not only receiving the laundry cards, but they can also receive other resources. So stay tuned for more details about that. It's going to be coming up pretty soon. Okay, let us continue. I just want to say that I'm very encouraged. This has been a great conversation. If you are not already, please follow us on social media, Instagram and Facebook. Our handle is East Flatbush Partnership. Our next meeting is February 24th, 3 to 5 p.m. via Zoom. And our catchment area is 11203, 11210, 11212, and 11226. So we are done as far as our planned agenda. But at this point, if anyone has any program updates, I know we've had a great conversation, but if there's anyone that just wants to share anything about their program that's going on, separate from an event, just anything you would like to share, feel free to do that now. And if not, then we will end our meeting for today. So does anyone have any program updates?
It's not a program update, but I would like to say that you set the bar on, what a forum and community meeting should be. I can't tell you how much. I mean, even from when you're in the libraries and the places and spaces that you went to, and your passion for the community and the work that you do shows through. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen. I appreciate your kind words. And our entire team is passionate. So I'm grateful for everyone that we have on board. I'm grateful for all of you because we couldn't do it without you all. So thank you so much, Karen. Anyone else have any closing remarks or program updates you'd like to share? Yes. Go ahead.
Lamika, awesome as always. Another thing I just wanted to add, and I know I'm going back just a little, but I need to just bring it out there to the forefront. One population that I didn't hear too much of us talk about is the elder program. And I want to speak on that because I have a mother that's 96 years old, and God bless her. And during this COVID time, a lot of them, especially if they had underlying health issues, they're still staying inside due to the fact they're trying to protect themselves overly and not try to get it regardless if they're vaccinated or unvaccinated. That was one. The second thing, I'm going back to Lisa, but I also was just thinking as far as a connection and where we know who has a loud voice, that's the sorority and fraternity brothers and sisters that's out there that can get the word out and spread the message. As far as us reuniting back into the community, that's another thing that came to mind. Another thing was, I think that was it. And this was an awesome meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I do have one question though. Did any organization here, are they the recipients of the PPE that's being delivered and everything else so that I can spread that information?
Like the PPE loans?
No.
What did you say?
There is a large amount of PPE being distributed to community-based organizations, the masks, the
COVID PPE.
COVID PPE, right. So is anybody here offer that?
I believe that Riseborough has an event on Friday outside the precinct in Bushwick, under the train. I forget what number it is. It's by a school on Myrtle, I want to say. I don't know if Riseborough is running it or whether we're just helping out with it. So I don't know. I do know that was mentioned, and they're handing out PPE and stuff.
Thank you.
And I also want to say thank you so much for hosting. This is honestly awesome and very helpful. Something that you had mentioned earlier was like outreach teams and having, or perhaps looking to have more outreach teams and more people on the ground connecting with community members. Could anyone suggest, and this may not be an appropriate question for this forum, I guess, but could anyone suggest like forms of grants to go after, or people to talk to about getting funding for stuff like that?
Seems like Sean is left, but he seems to be the one to reach out.
Yeah, there's a workshop or a webinar coming up. I think the 1st or the 2nd of February. I will look for the flyer and share it to apply for, I think, discretionary funds. That's one that I know that's coming up. But we try to share them in our newsletter as well. Any grants that are being that are open at the time. So we try to share them in the newsletter. And that's one of the workshops that I know that I'm aware of right now. So I'll share that in the chat.
Thank you. And I'll sign up immediately.
Yeah, it is an organization. There's a couple of things. You have HHS Accelerator, which is basically a portal for contracts for not-for-profits and also small businesses. And I know every year they give a workshop on signing up, being a part of HHS. And once you're a part of HHS, they do avail, RFPs on different contracts for the various city agencies. And then you also got Gateway, which is the state, a state portal for like contracts offered by New York State as Gateway. So just Google Gateway and just, seeing how you can, create a profile and get on for that. So those are some opportunities that you may want to, look into.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Great. Okay. I think we're done for today. This was a great meeting. Thank you for everyone who had a chance to share and provide feedback and just, your concerns, goals for the year. We're so grateful. We are here for you as a partnership, and we would love to continue to developing the relationship that we have with each and every one of you. Please stay connected with us on social media. Please forward, any flyers, upcoming events you have so we can make sure that they're included in our newsletter. And as usual, the recording of this meeting will be sent out with the meeting minutes. And enjoy the rest of your week, everyone. Thank you so much.